They say reality TV is full of surprises. But even by Love and Hip Hop Atlanta standards, no one was ready for what happened behind closed doors that day. It began in a private dressing room, hot, cramped, and buzzing with tension after a long cast meeting. That's where Mena, already simmering with frustration, let loose. And when she did, it wasn't just another on-camera feud. It was personal, brutal, and recorded without her knowing. Inside that room were Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris, two respected names in the franchise. Both were caught completely off guard. The confrontation, fierce and fast, quickly turned into one of the most shocking tirades ever seen off camera. Erica didn't hold back. Her words came like a storm, targeting Kirk and Mendeecees in ways no one expected. She questioned their integrity not just as castmates, but as black men in the hip-hop community. The language she used was sharp, the tone unforgiving. "You think you run this show, don't you?" She snapped, pacing back and forth, voice trembling with rage. The energy in the room shifted. Kirk looked confused at first, then defensive. Mendeecees sat stiffly, eyes locked on Erica as if trying to make sense of it all. Erica moved closer, her voice rising. "You two act like role models, but you're hiding behind your fame. You're no better than the ones you criticize." It wasn't just drama, it was deeply personal. She went after Kirk's recent financial troubles, mocking him for his failing businesses. Then turned to Mendeecees, calling out his prison past with venom, questioning the sincerity of his redemption arc. By now, the crew standing outside the room knew something was happening. Phones were ready. Not for clout, but because they knew what they were witnessing could change the entire season or end someone's career. "You walk around talking about growth and loyalty," Erica said sharply, "but what you really are is bitter and threatened. You've built your image on struggle and then use it as a weapon against others." Mendeecees stood up, fist clenched but voice measured. "Erica, this ain't the way. You know what this sounds like." "I know exactly what it sounds like," she shot back. "It sounds like the truth. You just don't like hearing it." That's when a crew member quietly opened the door just enough for the director to peek in. The whispered message was clear. "We've got it on tape." The moment was being recorded. And everyone involved knew this wasn't going to end quietly. Kirk, trying to diffuse things, finally spoke. "I've always supported you. I've given you advice when you needed it. Mendeecees has been a rock for this show." Erica didn't flinch. A rock or a relic? Mendeecees spent more than 5 years in prison and came out acting like he's Gandhi. "You're not a martyr. You're just another man trying to rewrite a messy past." The air turned electric. Mendeecees slammed his fist against the makeup table. "Enough, this isn't just disrespect. This is bigger than all of us." "Exactly," Erica said. "That's why I said it." At that point, phones were rolling, faces were pale, and producers were texting network executives in real time, asking how to handle what had just been caught on camera. Within hours, the footage had leaked up, the internet exploded. While the network scrambled behind the scenes, fans were already reacting. Some were shocked, others were furious. And almost everyone had an opinion. Kirk and Mendeecees sat together in stunned silence later that day. Kirk's face said it all: shock, betrayal, disbelief. "I thought she was family," he muttered. "We all did," Mendeecees replied quietly. "But there are lines you just don't cross." The network moved quickly. A decision was made. The outburst would never air. It violated their standards. Erica would be removed from upcoming episodes. Her involvement in future filming was officially on hold. Still, the damage was done. Crew members whispered about the chaos. Cast group chats exploded with messages. Even family members began posting statements. Outside the studio, fans showed up. Some chanted Erica's name. Others held signs defending Kirk and Mendeecees. Bloggers and bloggers went live from the studio gates. Everyone wanted answers. Everyone wanted to know, was this the end of Mena? Inside, producers met with Erica in a stark, quiet room. The decision came down quickly. "We're pulling you from the show," they told her. The language, the tone, it crossed a line. "You can't do this," Erica protested. But there was no going back. Her words had already made their impact. That night, Kirk posted a simple message: "Strength is staying calm when the world throws fire at you." His wife, Tiffany, reposted it with pride. Mendeecees released a short video. Calm, composed, but deeply hurt. "I've worked hard to rebuild my life," he said. "I won't let hate drag me back. I forgive, but I won't forget." The industry responded next. Former producers, publicists, and executives weighed in. The verdict was nearly unanimous. What Erica said went too far. Her team released a formal apology. "She understands the weight of her words," it read. "She is seeking counseling and will be stepping away to reflect and grow." Still, not everyone was convinced. Sponsors pulled out. A fashion line paused all promotion. A beauty brand issued a statement distancing itself from the controversy. Erica's Instagram went dark. The network called an emergency meeting. What to do next? Cancel her completely? Or turn this moment into a larger conversation about race, accountability, and community? The decision, a special segment, would air at the reunion. One chair would remain empty. Erica's. Backstage, she watched from a monitor, alone. As we move into part 2 of the saga, the questions only deepen. Can Erica redeem herself after one of the most talked about meltdowns in love and hip-hop history? Or has she permanently burned her bridges? The atmosphere at the reunion special was unlike anything the show had ever seen. The purple-lit studio, usually filled with nervous energy and anticipation, now felt heavy. Every cast member walked in knowing the tone would be different, and front and center, an empty chair. It was Erica's. Executive producer Mona Scott stood before the cameras and audience, her expression serious. "Tonight," she began, "we confront not just the drama but the real-life consequences of what we say and how we treat one another." The lights dimmed, then came the footage. Erica's outburst, unedited, played on the massive screen behind them. The room was silent. No dramatic music, no audience gasps, just her voice, angry and raw, echoing across the studio. When the video ended, all eyes turned to Kirk and Mendeecees. Mona turned gently to Kirk, her voice low. "How did that make you feel?" Kirk paused, holding back emotion. "It hurt, but more than that, it made me realize how fragile respect is. You spend years building it, and one moment like that, it can all disappear." The crowd applauded quietly. Mendeecees took a breath. "I've spent years trying to change my narrative. I've owned my past." By hearing those words, it reminded me of how easy it is for people to strip away your humanity with a few sentences. Then came the question everyone was waiting for: why wasn't Erica there? Mona answered plainly. "We invited her. We gave her a chance to come, take responsibility, and speak to her castmates and the fans directly." She declined. The camera zoomed in on the empty chair, silent, symbolic, and damning. Backstage, Erica watched the reunion from a small monitor, surrounded by a skeleton crew and her manager. Her eyes were fixed on the screen. She didn't speak. She didn't look away. And for the first time, she looked like someone who truly understood the weight of what she had done. In the days that followed, the fallout continued. News outlets ran stories. Bloggers posted commentary. Fans debated endlessly online. Some asked, why didn't she show up to apologize in person? Others said, maybe she's taking time to reflect. And while Erica remained out of the spotlight, Kirk and Mendeecees quietly began work on something new. Together, they had been approached by producers with a bold idea, a new spin-off series. One that would focus on community work, youth mentorship, and using their platforms for something bigger than drama. The working title, Rising Above the Noise. Filming for the pilot began in a South Atlanta neighborhood where a local nonprofit taught financial literacy to teenagers. Kirk shared stories about his own struggles with money. Mendeecees led a session on resilience, drawing from his journey after incarceration. There were no catchphrases, no shouting matches. Just real people, real stories, and real impact. Back in Erica's world, things were still turbulent. Her legal team considered suing the network. They argued that the clip had been used out of context. But ultimately, even her closest advisors urged her to choose a different path, one of action, not accusation. So, Erica made a decision. She enrolled in a cultural sensitivity and accountability program at a local nonprofit. She attended workshops, listened to community leaders, and heard firsthand how words, especially ones laced with anger and judgment, could harm more than she realized. One evening, standing outside a youth center, Erica finally spoke to a small group of volunteers and teens. Her voice was steady, yet softer than anyone had heard in a long time. "I let my anger speak for me," she said. "And in doing that, I hurt people who didn't deserve it. I'm not here to defend what I said. I'm here to change what I do next." Word of her transformation slowly began to spread. Videos of her community work surfaced. She personally helped organize a scholarship fund named after Kirk and Mendeecees to support young Black entrepreneurs. Kirk watched the clip of the scholarship presentation in silence, then said, "That's a start." Mendeecees nodded. Growth doesn't erase the past, but it can build a better future. Meanwhile, Rising Above the Noise gained traction. Fans responded to the first teaser with unexpected enthusiasm. Finally, one viewer said, "Something real. Something positive." The network saw the momentum and greenlit the series for a full season. At the same time, Erica proposed something of her own, a documentary series titled Words Matter, 5 episodes, each exploring how language affects identity, relationships, and healing. The network hesitated at first, but eventually agreed under one condition. She had to complete 6 months of community work and mentorship training before the project can move forward. As that journey continued, some former castmates began to reach out to her quietly. Bambi sent her a message, "Owning your mistakes is hard, but it matters. Proud of you." Spice, in an interview, said, "We all make mistakes. What defines us is what we do after." Others, like Yandy and Sierra, remained distant, waiting to see if this change was real or just another strategy to get back in the spotlight. The final decision on Erica's return wasn't made overnight. A private meeting was held at network headquarters. Erica came prepared with documentation of her volunteer work, a proposal for her series, and a letter of apology addressed not just to the cast but to the viewers. When she finished her presentation, Mona Scott leaned back in her chair and said simply, "Actions speak louder than any script. Let's see if you keep showing up." And so began Erica's slow, cautious return, not to drama, but to purpose. As months passed, the first episode of Rising Above the Noise aired. It opened with Kirk and Mendeecees standing on the steps of a community center. Kirk looked into the camera. "You've seen us argue, you've seen us fall. Now it's time to see us rise." Mendeecees added, "It's not about being perfect. It's about being real and being better than we were yesterday." The episode featured mentorship, real conversations, and the impact of 2 men who had decided to turn pain into purpose. Meanwhile, Erica was spotted speaking at local schools, helping launch a conflict resolution program, and meeting with young women about the power of accountability. In a surprising move, she even announced that a percentage of her future earnings would go towards supporting civil rights education and youth programs. Slowly but surely, the public began to notice the difference. By the time 6 months had passed, Erica had completed her requirements. Her mini-series, Words Matter, was scheduled to begin production, and the network offered her a chance to return, this time not as a cast member, but as a mentor guiding the next generation of talent through the complicated world of reality TV and public influence. As part 2 of this saga closes, the picture is still complicated. The wounds are still healing, but the people involved, Erica, Kirk, and Mendeecees, have all taken steps in different directions. Will those paths bring them back together? Will the audience embrace Erica's redemption? And will Rising Above the Noise become more than just a spin-off, but a symbol of what's possible when we choose growth over chaos? The answers are still unfolding. But one thing is certain, in the world of reality TV, nothing is ever truly over.